Welcome to the Sunday Fun Day Podcast. Your hangovers never sounded so good. I'm your host, Akil Patterson, and now and forever, this show is only mine. It is mine, and only mine. I've tried it a million different ways. I've tried to work with everybody and their mother, but unfortunately, or fortunately, we're going to do this thing the old-fashioned way. Me, you, having a conversation one-on-one here on the Sunday Fun Day Podcast. Your hangovers never sounded so good. I'm so grateful and blessed to be back in the studio. It has been quite an adventure for me over the last several months. I don't know if you know this. I have been all over the country, and I took a break. Even from social media, effectively, I took a break. And I got back to what makes me me. You know, I let a lot of people, and I'll say it, I let a lot of people take me out of my character. My character is that I am a good guy, not a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy. You're not a bad guy. I'm a good guy. But what I also learned in this world, there are no good guys and there are no bad guys. There are people who do less harm to others. That's it. That is it. You know, somebody says, well, Jesus was a good guy. I mean, yeah, he was Jesus. But even Jesus was accused of things. And they tried to make Jesus out to be a bad guy. A man who hung out with whores and prostitutes, they tried to make that guy a bad guy. Oh, he's always in the worst places, always hanging out with those bad people. What was bad about them? They're trying to survive. Like most people in this world, we are all trying to survive. And that's what the Sunday Fun Day really came to be about. Not just survival of the fittest, but survival of ourselves, who we are intrinsically. The juice, the OG, the instigator, they're good people. They're my friends. They will always be my friends. There's nothing bad about them. But as life goes on, you start to realize that you have to move on as well. You start developing your niche, how you react, how you respond. And I think for me, and just for me, and just come close when I say this, I'm not mad at them. And you shouldn't be mad at anybody either. You should be excited you had the opportunity to learn. Be grateful that it happened. What does it say? You should be grateful that you loved. It is better to have loved than never to have loved at all. It is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. There we go. Boom. There's the statement I was looking for. Laheim. There's something that's still not going to change here with the Sunday Fun Day. I'm still going to have a good time. I'm having a good time. There are people in the other room. I always look good. I look amazing. But at the end of the day, I got to do what's right for me and what makes me feel okay. I think one of the things that I'm going to start doing with us as a community is start talking about the issues. Like just fundamentally about the issues. Now, this week has been very hard for many people. But several months ago, I was talking to one of my young heads, and on an episode that I have not even released yet. And this is just, it literally was just by happenstance that I came across this audio file. And in the audio file, I'm talking to a young man, and he says, it's crazy what war does to people. Protesters on campuses will turn on the people that they know for people that they've never met before. And I thought about it. And I looked, and I saw what he saw. And I said, yeah, you're right. They do. And lo and behold, here we are in 2024, at the time of this filming of this episode. I am watching college campuses across this country in disarray. absolute disarray. And I'm seeing militarization of our police forces for essentially what is not large and large peaceful protests. Large in part peaceful protest. But why? Why are you protesting? See, that's the thing I keep coming back to in my head. It's like, why are they protesting? During the Black Lives Matter movement, many of the protests was out of anger, right? During the Watts riots of the 90s, it was out of anger. It was out of just frustration. You get kicked long enough, you just want to fight back. You just, I'm tired. I'm fighting back. But you don't have anybody to fight, so you just burn everything. You just fight everything that you see. You're just going at it. I've seen that. And to me, that was logical. The logical thing is that people were upset and they were going to go at it and they were just going to get something. Something. They're just ready to get it. One thing. They're ready to get it. They just want something. And then when it was over, the demands, the letters, the calls, hey, Black Lives Matter. Oh, it's Antifa, it's Antifa, it's Antifa. It's radical extremism, it's radical extremism. No. People are just tired of getting fucked with. People are just tired of getting messed with. They just are. But then October 7th happens. October 7th. A day that will live in my brain, just as 9/11 does. October 7th. I myself had PTSD from that day. I did. I absolutely did. I would be lying to you, myself, and my God if I did not say I did not have PTSD. There was like a flashback of 9/11. On October 7th, I had a flashback of 9/11. People at a concert, people cooking in their homes, the festival. And then you watch people get murdered, dragged through the streets. And it hurt. Hurt me. Hurt me because I do have a lot of Jewish friends. I do. I have a significant amount of Jewish friends who have always stuck by my side through thick and thin, good times and bad times. They always love me, unapologetically loved me for who I am. Who I am. Nothing else. They're like, Akil, you're my boy. We love you, man. My business partner, a Jewish woman, my friend, the owner of this network, David Gokhshtein, all people of Jewish heritage. So when my friends hurt, I hurt. See, because a long time ago, I learned that my feelings don't really matter to the greater movement and the greatest atmosphere of this world. They just don't matter to most people. They will never matter to half of you all out there. And they say, well, what about the Palestinian people? My heart bleeds for them too. I know fewer Palestinians. I really do. I know maybe 3 or 4 friends of mine that are Palestinian. And many of them came to this country so long ago that they said, they don't have a lot of connection with their family over there, but they are impacted and their parents are worried. And I said, I do empathize and I sympathize with them. But on October 7th, I had my PTSD moment. And I even had to, I called out of work. I said, I gotta go. I just need a couple of days just to get myself centered. And while I was centering myself, while I was talking to myself, while I was talking to my God, while I went to go see a therapist, I realized there was a lot of things that I myself had not even addressed from 9/11. I got family members in the military. I got friends that have died over in Afghanistan and Iraq. Friends that died because this government, our government, lied to them, lied to us. Am I weary of our government? Abso-freaking-lutely. I am weary of our government. I am so much aware of the bad things that happen in this country and in this world that I have chosen to be a positive influence on the lives of the people that I can. I've made that choice. When you make choices in this world, you have to live with the decisions of those consequences. My mom said CCD, choices, consequences, and decisions. You make your choice, you get the consequence, you live with that decision. CCD. What? You mean you make a choice? There are consequences that come with it, and you got to live with that decision? Absolutely. Life is that easy. And so when I've made my conscious decision to address my issues, I became a better person. I look at the light now. I look at the light and I look at the good and I look for the good in you, me. I'm not as angry as I used to be. But I'm still hurting from this. And I watch our college campuses go into disarray. Institutes of higher learning is what we have. And you pay an exorbitant amount of money for a degree or a piece of paper or the ability to learn or to be in your ecosystem. Let's be clear. I have both protested and I have rioted. I have. Terrapin Underground, baby. I went to the University of Maryland where we burned down Route 1 so many times, it became a running joke. Maryland won. Let's burn stuff. We did. I mean, these guys, Maryland got so good at it, they somehow were able to take the goalpost from the stadium to Route 1. It's like a half mile, maybe a mile. It's a half mile to Route 1 from where we're at. They take it down. And somehow this thing gets lit on fire. I don't know how you burn a football goalpost. But somehow these jokers did, because we were coming back from NC State after we'd clinched the ACC championship. And they're burning it. The place is on fire. Man, I get back to my dorm room. I'm checking things, making sure it worked. You're going to the right place to do it. Oh, no. We learned that day. We learned that on these situations, in these moments, we have to understand that things burn. Things are not always going to be the same. They change consistently and constantly. And guess what? They change because we've made them change. We change. The world changes. Our government changes. People change. Change happens. Change happens. But yet, for some reason, people around this world can't accept change. They just can't. Think about the change that occurred 80 years ago. Let's go 90. 90 years ago. 90 years ago. 90. So 90 years ago, the change that occurred. Go through the changes in this country that you can think of. Think about it. We got Vietnam, Korean, World War II, Holocaust, Nazi Germany. Like just these things, they're coming around again. And somebody says to you, well, you need to give somebody else their land back. I think America needs to shut up. Shut up, America. That's what I say. Shut up and mind your business. Mind yourself. Give land back. Who are we to tell people to give land back? Half of your parents live on stolen land. That's right. Half of your parents live on stolen land. I'm not going to say all of you, because some of y'all might live in New York and they bought it. Illegally, they bought it for $24 as some bees. And the Indians were like, give us some bees for this land. All right, I don't own it, but okay. You think of it like that, most people do not live on land that was either paid for, bought for, or earned in any way, shape, or form. They just don't. Its origination started somewhere else. Someone else had it, and then someone else took it. And then we somehow are sympathizers with Palestine and Hamas. Yo, that should happen to all of us. All of us. 40 acres and a mule, nobody ever saw that. Nobody. Reparations not given. Okay. Now, can I bring it up? Absolutely. Am I going to cry about it? Not really. Do I think that reparations are needed? Yes. 122%, I believe reparations are needed. But what I don't think is needed is that we continuously think that other people, we think that other people are more worthy than those that are already here. That we somehow have to go to divest all of our finances from an apartheid state after you think it's only been happening for a little bit? In the 1980s, I told somebody this today. Ask Steve Biko about apartheid. Oh, you don't know who Steve Biko is? Well, Steve Biko was a revolutionary and an activist during the occupation of South Africa. Hundreds of years that happened. Colonizers. The British. Matter of fact, we can talk about the British here in a little bit. I'll get there. The British, colonizers, they did it. They were the ones who started all this off. Thank you to the Brits, and thank you, Ireland, for starting it, because Irish are the only other people who know about their true oppression. They're the ones who told me, very interesting, an Irishman, and I was in Galway. An Irishman in Galway said to me, don't tell us about oppression. We're the originators of it. And I was floored. I had nothing to say. The white Irishman was right. They are the originators of the colonialism oppression. Yeah, that's right. The British, the first people they colonized, were the Irish. And then they went on a spree to colonize as many people. So let's just get it straight. The British weren't racist. They were just assholes. They colonized every place they could. Not built off of racism, but just built off of just being assholes. They thought they owned the world, and they took what they felt like. United States, we cannot keep being everyone's big daddy. We can't be everyone's big daddy. At some point, we as a nation must stop, assess, and evaluate. Is this financially working? Is this working for our people, and is this working for the global economy? Yes or no? I think Israel has the right to exist. I think the Palestinian people have the right not to be part of a genocide. I think Benjamin Netanyahu should be in prison. He should have been in prison over 7 years ago. He shouldn't be the leader of the party. The party that he's the leader of shouldn't be in leadership. But guess what? That's not my decision as an American. It's not. Nor is it Joe Biden's or Donald Trump's. It is not our decision to go into sovereign nations and decide on their behalf what they will do. Hamas didn't hold elections for 10 years. Where's the outrage? Hamas did not hold election for 10 years. Where was the outrage? There was no outrage because nobody thought anything of it. Sovereign nation doing their thing. Or what about all the times that Hamas on October 7th, Hamas did this intentionally, said, we can't let the world forget about us, so we're going to kill 1,700 people. 1,700 people. People who were out at festivals. And your excuse is, well, the genocide. Benjamin Netanyahu is trash. His government is trash. They were on their way out because they're trash. But guess what? Ya Hamas lovers better recognize that Hamas is now able to become the victim. They become the victim. Well, because there's so much worse. There's so much worse than us. Get over yourself. We have destabilized region after region. South America is a shit show. Haiti is a nightmare. And guess what? The only reason you care about the Palestinians is because they're going against Jews. That's it. What other reason is there for you to care about it? It's happening all over the world. But we fund it. We fund the other ones too. Matter of fact, we've done one better. We've stopped funding some countries and let them go into chaos. But you forget these things because you have selected memories at home. We all have selective memories. I'm good. See, I know how the system works. I do. I know how the system works. The system is working just as it was intended to. It is intended to disenfranchise people and to keep them down. The system is working just fine. But are you going to stay down on the bottom of the system? Are you going to continue to let yourself get kicked in the teeth and eaten by others? I say no. I say you should work twice as hard, get everything that you think you are owed, and then when you're done working, maybe you can rest. There is a quote that one of my wrestling mentors is, one of my mentors, he says it all the time, and he says, I think it's on the plains of hesitation. Okay. On the plains of hesitation, many men rested. And there, on the plains of hesitation, let me just go ahead and look it up. Quote, on the plains of hesitation, bleach the bones of countless millions who at the dawn of the decision sat down to wait, and waiting they died. And that's attributed to George W. Cecil. It's on the plains of hesitation, bleach the bones of countless millions who at the dawn of decision sat down to wait, and waiting they died. You can't wait for others to make a decision. You know the hard thing about leadership? The hard thing about leadership is that leadership takes effort. Say it with me, boys and girls. Effort. You have to make a decision and live with those consequences. CCD, choices, consequences, decisions. You make a choice. You weigh out the options. You recognize the consequences that will come with it, and you decide. When someone says, oh, but he deserves another chance, absolutely, I am for reform. I worked my tail off to get former felons, formerly incarcerated people, their voting rights back. I worked my tail off. I was a secretary-treasurer of an organization that we did that. We did that. Funny thing is the same person that I helped do that then stabs him in the back 2 years later. Ooh, he didn't change his bones. He is still a criminal. But I said nothing because I know how bad the world is. You cannot lay down and wait for someone to make a decision for you because there you'll die because they're not going to care about you. So when we spend all this energy focused on Israel, Hamas, the Ukraine, we pick and choose who we want to support. And we have gone the distance. I know you guys are probably wondering, this is probably making you sick, but the camera is on autopilot. I don't know what the hell's going on. I've been doing this for way too long. It's just ginger beer, guys. Just ginger beer. I've been doing this way too long. I've been at it for forever. I was a lobbyist. I've been a politician. End of the day, man, I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling bad about not caring. I'm tired of feeling bad that the world is a bad place and I have to remind people day in and day out. I am tired of feeling as though I have earned this trauma from 2001, from my friends dying, from loved ones dying, from people in care dying, from those that I have been oppressed dying. We have homeless. We have hungry. And I see more Christians caring about if a transgender person plays basketball or not. We have families who cannot eat, and we care more about Donald Trump's wealth. We have school children who cannot read, and we care more about the books that are in the schools than the education they are receiving. We have a serious lack of morals in this country. See, morals, no, let me say, it's not morals. They're just simple values, simple principles. Leave people alone. Remember that one? Or am I too old? Am I the old guy in the room? Hey, man, we used to have this thing called peace and tolerance, right? And people are like, oh, you shouldn't have to tolerate people. You should accept them. No. You tolerate some people because you have to. You're at work. We live in a civil society. Somebody says something stupid. You let them know, hey, I didn't appreciate that. And you go tell HR. That's it. Move on. Let HR take care of it. HR doesn't do it right. You call your attorney, you sue the company, and then they learn their lesson. They had choices, there were consequences, and a decision. See that? CCD. Always comes back to that. CCD. Choices, consequences, decision. You'll know this by the end of this episode, that choices, consequences, and decisions are how we live our lives. You leave people alone. Leave them alone. Just leave them alone. If you decide that you want to be promiscuous and want to have 42 sex partners and then you contract some STD or virus, guess what? You made a choice. You knew the choices, you knew the consequences of your choices, and yet you made the decision. So be it. If you are a person who chooses to have an abortion for whatever reason, whether it's medical, rape, incest, so forth and so on, whatever reason, it's your decision. That should be your choice. That's what freedom is, right? My religious values should not impact your decision. But yet, for some reason, people think that it's their job to be the moral police. But yet, those same people refuse to pay for child health care, food benefits, SNAP benefits, WIC. Uh-oh, wait a second. We're going to let really poor people have children who can't afford them, and then when the kid grows up to rob a bank, oh, it's the parents' fault. Well, hold on. That poor girl probably wanted, she was 15. She made bad decisions. She had poor choices. And her consequences, she didn't weigh them all out. Because guess what? She didn't have that education. And so at the end of the day, we've created the system where these young people will go on and be horrible. You know who raises shitty kids? Shitty parents. Yeah, I said it. Bad kids come from even worse parents. And then those bad kids will grow up to be bad parents as well. Guess what happens to them? they then become even worse. And so you end up with a sociopath out of somebody's basement. Why? Because you couldn't let them get an abortion. And now we all pay for it. Funny how that works, huh? And I know a majority of you aren't going to agree with anything I say. Matter of fact, you're going to be in the comment section telling me how bad of a person I am. But that's okay. I'm okay with you calling me a bad person because I believe in individual freedoms. I don't believe in nanny states. I don't believe in police brutality. I don't think anyone should ever be on welfare forever. I just don't. But I do believe there are people disabled who lack the ability to work a basic job, to have their basic needs met, and we should be able to help them. I don't understand how that's hard. I don't understand how you can say, I think homeless people should be helped. I don't think we need to give homeless people more rights than people who work. I believe that if you're homeless, we should work to get you off the streets. I don't believe that we should be working to give you items that cost money so that you can, quote unquote, harm reduction. Harm reduction only works when you're trying to stop the transmission of diseases. Because it is a necessity for the common good of the people. It's almost like how we had COVID lockdowns. It was out of a necessity for the common good of the people. It is part of the health and welfare clause of the Supreme Court. They read that. It's like, well, the health, safety, and welfare of the people, yeah, that's what we're using. It's not actually in the Bill of Rights. It's not in the Constitution. It's just like a line in it. Okay, health, safety, and welfare, gives them the authority of it. It happened. We move on. But everyone is fighting with each other over things that they literally know nothing about. I always tell people, explain to me the budget process for the federal government, please. I'll wait. Oh, you don't know it? Okay. So if you don't know how the budget process works, how the heck can you tell me how the money goes to Ukraine? Well, I mean, they just said, no. Somebody on TV told you that we sent cash to the Ukraine. No, we did not send cash to the Ukraine. What we do is we have a stockpile of munitions sitting over here. We'll use this cup as munitions. So there's a stockpile of munitions sitting over here. And over here, there's some new munitions that need to be bought and built. All right. So inside there's all these brand new bombs, all these brand new bombs. And over here are some old bombs that are just sitting over here in a stockpile. Look, the United States government says, well, we allocate 35% of our budget to defense spending. So why don't we just buy these new bombs? So we buy the new bombs and we take the old bombs and say, hey, you guys over there, you want these? And there you have it. And that is what happened. That is how Ukraine got its munitions and its funding. Funding, air quotes. We just gave them something that we already had. And did you know where these bombs were made? And these bombs were made? That's right, baby. Right here in the good old US of A. And what did those jobs do? They put money into the pockets of American families in southern states and rural places who think, well, it's so bad that we're giving money to Ukraine. Well, guess what, yokel local? You just got paid. So shut up and sit down. God dang it. This is America. It's how the system works. So when you cry and you complain and you point fingers at Israel and you point fingers at Jewish students going to class, remember, you yourself are playing into the exact system that the government told you that you're playing into. This is not news. This is not brand new stuff. I have not created anything out of the ether. I am simply saying there are no good guys. There are no bad guys. There are just people. People who seek power, and they'll do anything to keep it. I wish I could be lying to you right now. I wish that for the sake of my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren that have yet to be born, I wish I was lying, but I'm not. Our country loves us because we are our country. The same way that your God loves you because you are the image of your God. We are fighting the same fight. We are saying the same things, but for some reason, you listen to Strickland and Andrew, Tate and Pete. You listen to people who don't care about you. They ran away. Andrew Tate ran off to another country. But yet he tells you how to be a man. You know how to be a man? CCD. You weigh your choices, you weigh your consequences, and you make your decision. You have to live with all of it. You get a girl pregnant, you go to her, you look her in the eye and say, it's your decision. I'll support you whatever way it is. You hurt your best friend, you look your best friend in the eye and you say, I love you. I'm sorry. We are better than this. We are better than our pain. We are better than our anger. We are better. I want you to be better. So, with that being said, this has been the new Sunday Funday podcast, The Hangover That Never Sounded So Good. I'm going to be coming back to you every week with a rant, a rave, or a review of something that I care about because I like to have fun. And part of having fun is knowing when to say when. This has been the Sunday Funday podcast. Your hangovers never sounded so good. Have a great day and even better tomorrow. L'chaim.